Welcome to the Bulletproof Cashflow podcast, the go-to place to gain financial freedom through real estate investing. Here we interview investors, mentors, and entrepreneurs who share their secrets and advice to help you build passive income. Let's get into the show.
Imagine this. 60 days ago, you decided to rehab a property, but you've already put a lot of cash into the deal, about the same as others on the market, and it's still not done. What's worse, you think you're still months away from completion, and yet you're still putting in time, energy, and money to this failing deal. You may say, I can't quit now. I've already invested so much into this thing. Welcome to the interesting and annoying world of cognitive biases. These cognitive biases only exist in our heads, but they affect everything that we do, from how we live to how we work and even how we invest. Now, as humans, we did not evolve to make logical decisions like a computer. We evolved to survive. Our brains, they evolved in a way to expend as few resources as possible to conserve energy. To improve our ability to respond to external stimuli efficiency, like say, an attack by a hungry lion or spending days foraging for foods, these biases help us by providing shortcuts to keep us safe and alive. Now think of cognitive biases as a mental shortcut designed to help survive the hunter-gatherer world from tens of thousands of years ago. Now, in today's modern world, we don't have these concerns. We're not worried about lions attacking us. Many of our scenarios, they demand more rational calculations than supporting the skills of a hunter-gatherer. So most times we're left frustrated when we think what is the best decision doesn't give us the result, what we expect or what we want. While we can't eliminate these cognitive biases, we can get a better understanding of them and even use them to our advantage, not only for ourselves, but also as it relates to others. Here are 3 biases that will impact us as investors and some tools that can help us keep them in check. Now, I'm not going to go deep into the science behind these biases unless you want me to. And if you do, leave a comment and let me know. I can expand on these topics and love to tell you about other biases that impact us and how we live. So the first, the anchoring bias. The anchoring effect happens when we give priority to the first information that we encounter, even if the information we cover later is more relevant or applicable. We tend to be overly influenced by the first piece of information that we hear. For example, a broker reaches out to you about a pocket listing and throws out a price. With the anchoring effect, they have set the expectation of what the sale price should be. And this happens all the time. That sale price becomes the anchoring point from which all further negotiations are based, regardless of what your inspection or your appraisal says. This is a common tactic in our line of business. It happens even more when it comes to bidding. And according to your predefined criteria, and you have to watch not to overpay, you need to stick to your metrics and not justify price based on emotion or justifications from a broker. Number 2, the optimism bias. The optimism bias is our tendency to overestimate the likelihood that good things will happen to us and underestimate the likelihood of anything bad happening to us. We assume things like a job loss, divorce, or even death will happen to someone else, but never to us. On the flip side, it's also worth noting that the optimism bias helps us create excitement for the future, especially as it relates to goal setting. This bias keeps us engaged and moving forward to achieve our goals. Now, the optimism bias helps us as entrepreneurs to push the limits when it comes to taking risks and driving innovation. So optimism is important to helping us find success, but if we get overly optimistic, it can be a huge waste of time, money, and resources. For example, if you buy into a broker's report of how a building is an up-and-coming area, but there are some rough areas next, right nearby, maybe a block away. So while you may see great things happening in a nearby neighborhood, there are gunshots and crimes happening nearby. Instead of succumbing to the optimism, you need to be very skeptical of the rosy expectations. Anticipate and budget to assume that it'll get more difficult and more expensive than you think. Good ideas need hard work rather than just positive thinking. And number 3, the sunk cost fallacy. Now, the sunk cost fallacy describes our inclination to commit to a project, person, or thing because we have invested so much time and resources into it, even if it would be better to cut our losses and move on. This is a bias that I touched on at the beginning of the episode. You commit to personally rehabbing a property, you pour thousands of dollars into the deal, spend nights and weekends working on it, you're still months away from completing it. Yet you feel that you've already exceeded that it's worth less than what you'd be able to sell it for. But you've spent all this time and money and energy on this rehab, so you continue to put even more resources into it instead of just selling the property off to a contractor who has the means of finishing it. In such a case, it'd be best for you just to cut your losses and get rid of it. Commitment is important and it's required to have in any degree of business. However, there's a fine line between determination and becoming a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. To avoid getting hit with the sunk cost fallacy, it's best to just look for new evidence and how it applies to what you're doing and then act on it. Follow those projects closely, track them closely, see how they're going according to budget, and especially where it should be in terms of what sort of return you should be getting. If the return does not materialize, it's best just to get out of the deal and hand it off to someone else that could fix it or get it back in line before it consumes all your resources. Those are my 3 main cognitive biases that drive our everyday lives. These cognitive biases influence our thoughts, and this translates into our overall decision making. It happens automatically unless we control what we're thinking, and we have to catch it. Understanding these biases and learning how to control them will help you make better decisions and investments too. Anyway, have you ever fallen prey to any of these biases? Do you want me to cover any others? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you and love to chat with you there. And if you like this content, go ahead, give it a thumbs up and share it. Also, check out the Bulletproof Cashflow podcast on iTunes and Stitcher and subscribe to a YouTube channel as well. Don't forget to smash that like button and get notified when we put up new posts and new videos. And of course, if you're looking for content on our coaching, don't forget to reach out to us at bulletproofcashflow.com. We're always working on getting new content to you guys, so we really want you to be successful in the world of multifamily. Go ahead, visit us, drop us a line. Be great. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the Bulletproof Cashflow podcast. For more free podcasts, articles, videos, and resources, go to www.bulletproofcashflow.com.